Welcome to the More Than Fitness Podcast.
Okay, let me get set up here real quick. And I think we got some bourbon here. We got Zion the Zebra. We've got the plant. We're recording the podcast. Got extra bourbon here just in case. Got a water just in case. And let's start this DrunkCast off, right? Okay, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DrunkCast on the More Than Fitness Podcast. For those of you who don't know, the DrunkCast is simply a Q&A podcast that it's where I have you guys send me in questions, and these could be about training, nutrition, life, and just pure nonsense, honestly. And they're some of my favorite podcasts to do. I have some in the past that I've done with guests, and then I also have some solo episodes as well. And yeah, they're really fun for me to do, and I also get to drink while I work. So it's a very, very exciting time to knock these out. So with that being said, I'm going to take a quick sip, and we're going to dive right in to your all's questions. Today I'm drinking a little bit of Woodford Reserve. That's what I've got in the decanter here, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get into question number 1. All right, this is from Anonymous. Sometimes people have their names on here, sometimes they don't. And we're going to kick this DrunkCast off with a very interesting question that I've never been asked before. So they said, you're told you have 7 days to live. What do you do? Right? So I'm just going to let that simmer for a second. I want you guys to think about what your answer would be if someone told you, okay, you've got some type of terminal cancer or something like that. You have 7 days to live. What do you do? Right? I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction here because I think if I'm going to be 100% honest, what I would do wouldn't be anything too glamorous. I'm not going to go, at least I don't think I would go like skydiving or try and fly some, like I wouldn't try and travel anywhere because you're going to waste a lot of that time just on the plane or in the car or whatever. So I think that's out of the question. What instead I would do I would literally be spending it with my loved ones. I'd be spending it with my girlfriend. I'd be spending it with my family, my best friends. I would literally force them to hang out with me, and I would spend all the money that I have in savings, and we would do some really cool shit, to be 100% honest. But the specifics of what I would do, whenever I heard this question, it wasn't about that. Whenever I heard this question, I thought to myself, could you imagine the pressure lifted off your shoulders if someone told you that you had 7 days to live? And I say that, and I know that sounds dark, but like, hear me out on this. I'm not saying that I want to die, right? I'm just saying that if it was already predetermined, there was nothing that I could do to change this situation that I'm in. I honestly think that the only option that I have left is acceptance, right? And honestly, that's how it is right now, except to a larger extent. We're all going to die. That's one thing in this life that is certain. Every single one of us is going to die. And I think that just whenever I heard that, I just thought about, I kind of just in my mind, I just kind of exhaled, right? I know it sounds weird or whatever, and that might sound odd to some of you, but it's just the pressure of knowing that you don't have to, the pressure of bearing the responsibility of making your life memorable or bearing on the load of everything that you're trying to accomplish in life. You know what I'm saying? Like you, especially me, so I'm at 26, like I have at least, God willing, whatever, like I have a long time ahead of me, and there's a lot of things that I wish to accomplish, but, it would just kind of erase all of that. And it would pinpoint me into this position of just pure immediacy, right? And it's just talk about living in the moment. Like, Jesus Christ, like that's the epitome of living in the moment. So yeah, I think I would just be, right? And I would just be with the people that I love. And because that's what I feel like all of this is about anyway, is about taking care of the people that you love. And of course, impacting the world and making it a better place than when you came. But of course, if you only have 7 days to live, you have your history and what you've done up to that point, but that's about it, right? So at that point, it's going to be very selfish. I'm going to be chilling, pretty damn hardcore chilling. Probably the hardest chilling I've ever done in my entire life, right? So yeah, I'm curious what you guys would say to that answer. So if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast, whatever, I don't care. Somehow leave a comment below. Let me know what you would do if you had 7 days to live. Or if you're listening on the podcast, send me a DM, send me an email. I'm curious what you guys would say to that question, because it's a good question. So whoever asked that, thank you. You made me think in very weird ways. So yeah, starting off the DrunkCast with death. Sounds like a plan, right? Okay, with that being said, I'm going to take another sip of this delicious bourbon here. 1 second. There we go. Got a little ice in there. We're good. Feeling good. I'm feeling really good today. I put off this DrunkCast. I was supposed to do it like a week ago, but I actually got a little bit too tipsy at the last recording, and also I didn't even start recording because it took me so long. I got way more questions than I thought I would, and so I've been trying to pick those out and go through these one by one and make sure that I give you guys actually good answers instead of just completely coming on here and pulling it out of my ass trying to find some value for you guys. And with that being said, let's go to question number 2. All right. Anonymous, again, says, I've been cutting for the last year and I've been pretty happy with the results. They said I'm 5'10" and down to 165, so down 35-ish pounds. I think I am ready to start transitioning to bulking, but I am nervous about putting on / regaining too much fat as I increase calories. I plan on bulking as clean as possible, but I don't want to hit the weights and feel like I'm getting bigger only to look in the mirror and think, yeah, you've definitely gotten bigger, but not in a good way. So to recap, this person has lost a lot of weight and now they're worried about regaining the weight as they increase calories. And this is a super, super common theme in people who have tried so hard to diet down and lose some body fat over time. And they've just been in a state of dieting. So they've been trying to lose weight for so long now. That's the only mode that they're kind of accustomed to. And the thought of increasing their calories from where they are, thinking about putting on weight and potentially regaining all that weight and erasing all that hard work that they just did, that can be terrifying for a lot of people. And so I understand. And like I said, it's very common. I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple more people listening to this that have thought this same exact thing. And I actually wrote an article about this on my website. And I think it's mattmcleod.org/acrasia. And it talks about the acrasia effect. And I'm not going to explain that here, but you can read that. It's spelled AKRASIA. I think that's right. I'm a little bit tipsy, but I think that's correct. But it talks about the fear of gaining fat, right? But to put it simply, you're trading short-term fat loss for long-term muscle gain potential, right? So here's the thing: you only have a few options, right? It's either you're gonna continue to cut, and you're gonna continue to cut calories, and eventually if you've been dieting for so long already, there's not going to be much that you can do, right? You can't keep cutting calories. You can't keep adding cardio. It's just not sustainable over the long term. So you're eventually going to have to reverse out. You're going to have to reverse diet, start to slowly add calories back in. But here's the thing. I don't think people understand. The thing about fat loss is it's It's not easy, but it is simple. And you can lose fat relatively quickly. And to put this into perspective, whenever I say you're trading short-term, God damn, I can't even fucking speak already. You're trading short-term fat loss for long-term muscle gain. Think about the amount of muscle that you can gain in 12 weeks, especially if you're an intermediate lifter, you've been lifting for a while. If you're a beginner, you can gain a decent amount of muscle within 12 weeks, right? But if you're an intermediate to advanced lifter, you've been lifting for 2-3 plus years consistently, it's going to be very difficult for you to gain that much muscle at all within a 12-week period. But in 12 weeks, in terms of fat loss, no matter what stage you're at, you can lose a lot of fat within 12 weeks, right? You can lose 12 to 15 to even 20 pounds of fat in 12 weeks, but there's no way in hell you're going to put on 12 to 20 pounds of muscle mass in 12 weeks. It's just not as easily doable, right? So your fear of putting on fat is going to reduce the amount of muscle that you can build over a long period of time. So that's something that you definitely need to think about. If you want to maintain where you're at right now, I would 100% just, because I'm assuming you probably you say you still want to increase calories. And I think that you could totally do that. I would monitor your calories that you're eating on a daily basis, but then also make sure you monitor your weight gain. So you're just your weight on a week-to-week basis. I would make sure that you're gaining no more than 0.5 to 1 pound per week. If you're trying to gain muscle, I would say 0.5 pounds to 1 pound on average per week is a good range whenever you're trying to quote unquote lean bulk. If you're trying to maintain, of course, you want to just maintain the weight that you're at and then slowly try and increase your calories, and we'll hope that your body plays catch up as you raise your calories and your body adapts with that. But again, you're just going to have to monitor that, and that's totally okay. It's just going to take a little bit longer. But again, going back to playing it out, let's say you did gain a little bit of fat. Like if you raise your calories up and you're eating a lot more calories than you used to, and let's say you gained a couple pounds of fat, like sure, you might be a little bit insecure about that, but as a long-term health play and a long-term muscle gain play, that's going to be huge. And here's the thing, like I said, fat loss is going to be easier than muscle gain. So if you're willing to sacrifice now to put your insecurities aside a little bit and try and battle through it, you can add those calories in, you can gain some muscle, you might gain a little bit of fat on the way, but it's like 12, 16 weeks from now or something, after you've gained a decent amount of muscle and you're ready to do maybe a little mini cut, like a 4-week cut or something like that, you're going to reap the benefits of doing a longer bulk. And I say 16 weeks, so that's whatever, 4 months, 4, 6, 8 months. The longer you can go whenever you're bulking and trying to add muscle gain, you're just going to reap those benefits whenever you cut down again, because that's how you're going to look better over time, right? Like, yeah, it sucks whenever you're adding a little bit of fat as you're gaining muscle, but whenever you cut again, that second go round and you get lean again, you're going to be amazed at the amount of muscle that you put on and how great you look whenever you cut again. So yeah, again, it will be scary. It's going to test your mental fortitude a little bit, but I mean, that's I'm sure you were scared about dieting and stuff, and you had to get through that as well. So it's just, I promise you, if you can play this out and think long-term as opposed to short-term insecurities about gaining a little bit of fat, you've already lost 35-ish pounds already. You can fucking do it. You can lose that fat again if you really want to. You're not going to, and I promise you're not going to gain 35 pounds of fat if you're monitoring your weight and monitoring your calories. That's just not going to happen. So yeah, trust yourself and just commit. Okay? Like, just make sure that you put in the work, you monitor. The more closer you monitor and the less loose you are with your diet, you're going to be fine. Don't worry. I promise you're going to be good. So yeah, do that. And I promise you'll be okay. That was a good question though. And I hope that helps, because I know a lot of other people are thinking the exact same thing. All right. On to question 3 from Jackie. One of my clients, actually. What's up, Jackie? What is something totally not necessary that you love to splurge on? It's a great question. And I'm going to get a little sip of this bourbon real quick before I answer it. Shout out to Jackie, though. Okay. So what is something totally not necessary that you love to splurge on? First thing that came to my mind whenever I read this was dinners. I fucking love going to dinner with people that fuck it. I even love going to dinner by myself. I'll go out to dinner by myself, party of one, and not give two shits about who sees me, whatever. Like, I'm chilling there. I'm getting a damn filet. I'm getting some wine. I'm getting some Diet Coke, and I'm getting a water as well because I like options. Got Diet Coke here. Got some bourbon. I've got some water for those on the video that can see this. I like options. I'm going to chill there with full confidence and full enjoyability of me being there by myself. To anybody who's afraid to go eat by themselves, please, I challenge you. After you listen to this, within the next 3 days, go eat a meal by yourself in a restaurant. I promise you, it's not going to be as bad as you think. And just enjoy it. Don't sit on your phone because you feel awkward or whatever. Fucking embrace that shit, man. Like, just go there, get your favorite food, go to your favorite restaurant and just chill. You can sit at the bar, you can sit wherever, but like, just enjoy your time there. And just, yeah, man, just embrace it. Just really taste the food, every single bite. Don't rush through it or anything like that. Don't worry about people's constant judgment of you, or somebody seeing you or something like that. Like, just don't worry about it, right? And I know that wasn't the question, but yeah, I love going out to eat by myself. It's one of my favorite things. But even more so, I love going out to eat with, say, my girlfriend. Me and her are going on a date night, and fucking, we get a bottle of wine. This doesn't happen all the time because shit can get expensive, but love getting a bottle of wine, getting a couple glasses of wine, getting the filet mignon, sharing a couple sides, maybe getting some apps. You know what I'm saying? Get a couple appetizers. But yeah, I think food is something that people, if you're gonna cut short if you're gonna be frugal about anything in life, don't make it on food. It's like, dude, food is it's just so important. And I mean, obviously I'm biased as a registered dietitian and a personal trainer. But if you're going to skimp on anything, don't make it food. Enjoy good quality food. Cause I'm telling you, if you've ever had a high quality, filet, or if you've had high quality pasta from like a legit Italian place or something, it's such a primal feeling that you get whenever you have good food, man. It's fucking, dude, it's just ridiculous. And even thinking about it right now, like, my mouth starts watering. But yeah, dinners. I am 100% on board with wasting money, quote unquote, wasting money on expensive dinners. I love good quality food. I love the good atmosphere. I love being around people. I enjoy getting a little tipsy, and just enjoying life, man. That's what it's about. Another thing, again, this is another food related thing. And I added this on, I think, like yesterday or something, but pre-cut, fucking damn it, I can't speak. Pre-cut fruit. Okay. So I have a Whole Foods like 2 feet away from me. I can just walk over to Whole Foods anytime I want. And they have pre-cut fruit, and it's always delicious. It's a variety of fruit. You've got blueberries, you got blackberries, you got raspberries, you got some pineapple in there, maybe some mangoes, you got some that have oranges and kiwis. But like, the reason I love pre-cut fruit is that, sure, it's maybe a little bit more expensive, but the thing is one, it usually tastes better, and two, I know that I'm actually going to eat that fruit because it's already pre-cut. Here's the thing. You think about the difference between you buying a pineapple that hasn't been cut and buying pre-cut pineapple. Like, once you buy that, like, you're 100% going to eat it because it's right there in your fridge. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the big pineapple with the skin on it, like, the chances of you actually taking the time to core that bitch out and everything and then cut it up and everything is just, it's much slimmer. So I get pre-cut fruit because, one, it's again, I like spending money on food. Two, I know that I'm actually going to eat it. So it's like, the thing is like, you could say it's more expensive, sure, but I'm going to eat all of the pre-cut pineapple as opposed to the pineapple with the skin on it that I sometimes never even cut into in the first place, and I end up just throwing it away, right? So if it's pre-cut, I know at least I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat all of it. And think about even with strawberries or blueberry, like any other fruits, like sometimes you're not going to eat all of them, but if it's already pre-cut and ready to go, you're good. So yeah, pre-cut fruit is another one. Ready to drink protein shakes. That's another one. Because again, convenience, man. I'm huge on convenience. That's something that's one of my quote unquote money dials. I'm more than happy to spend more money on convenience factors. So yeah, ready to drink protein shakes. It just makes me more likely to actually drink them again, because I don't want to fucking get out the shaker, put the scoop in, put the milk in, and then drink it, and then wash it out in the sink. And I know all these are such whatever first world problems, but it's like I don't give a shit. Like these are things that I'm willing to spend money on, and it also makes my life better, and it makes me a healthier individual. So yeah, I'm absolutely going to do it. And the last one would be like deli meat. I don't want to cut up my own turkey or ham or chicken, so I like to get deli meat. Obviously, you have to be careful in excess quantities, but for the most part, yes, I like deli meat as well. Pre-cut deli meat. Good question, Jackie. Thanks, bro. All right, let's get into the next one. But first, get a little sippy sip here. Hope you guys are having a great morning, day, night, whenever the fuck you're listening, watching to this. All right. You guys will notice as I keep going, my words will keep slurring. And hopefully my voice doesn't get out. I'm going to get a little sip of water here too. Make sure, because my voice, whenever you shocker, the alcohol dehydrates you actually, and whenever you talk, it just makes it worse. So my voice can get scratchy as I do these. So towards the end of these, sometimes they get scratchy, but I'm gonna prevent that with a little bit of this water here. I'll go ahead and read the next question from Anonymous again, and this is an interesting one. How to get support from your partner when they have no interest in activities or sports? They think you are using activities to get away. Ooh, this is fucking, I'm Dr. Phil shit up in here. Hold on. God, just call me Dr. Phil. Fixing relationship problems. Or not. Or don't fucking listen to me, because what the shit do I know about relationships? I'm a personal trainer, registered dietitian. For some reason, people think that I have an answer to this. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you an answer to this. So yeah, to repeat the question real quick, how to get support from your partner when they have no interest in activities or sports. They think you are using activities to get away. All right, so there's definitely something deeper going on. If they feel like you're trying to get away, they're afraid of you not loving them enough, or they're afraid of you leaving, or something along these parts. Something needs to be addressed, because either they need more from you, or maybe you need to reevaluate if they don't respect your boundaries. So I don't know if you guys have talked about this before or not, but boundaries need to be set in relationships. And if you're constantly trying to do certain things that you love doing, you need to make sure that they understand that, like, you want to continue doing this, and that just because you love doing this thing doesn't mean that you don't love being around them. But again, if they don't feel like they're being loved enough or whatever, you need to address that with them and make sure that you're checking all the boxes and making sure that you're giving them whatever sufficient love, right? But if it's also you, whenever I say that, you're like, I've tried everything and they just never seem to, that void never seems filled with enough love, then there might be something more internal going on with them, that they may need to, you guys might have to spend a lot of time talking it through, figuring out different strategies, on what that's coming from, if that's coming from you, or if that's coming from a deeper problem with them that may need to be talked out in therapy, or they just need to do some internal discovery to figure out what the hell is going on there and why they never feel like what you're doing is enough. Because that can be that can be a lifelong thing. Whenever if they never feel satiated with your love, there's got to be something else there going on that they need to figure out. But you need to be supportive of that. Whatever. Again, I don't have a lot of context here with your question, but I think communication again with all of this is key. And I think I'll leave you with this because again, this isn't my area of expertise, but I think all you can do, both of you, is to lay the truth out on the table, both of you, exactly what you want and exactly what they want. It didn't say a girl or a guy, but you both need to lay out to each other. You've got to fucking sit down, look each other in the eyes, no distractions, whatever, and just be like, hey, we're gonna figure this out because there's some shit that's been going on that's not okay with me, and I know there's some shit that's it's not okay with you either. So what we need to do is we both need to be able to live out our truth. We both need to do, for the most part, because of course there's going to have to be sacrifices and cooperation within the relationship, but you both need to be able to live out the life that you want to live without hindrance from the other person, right? Like your truth is your truth. If there's certain things and activities that you want to do on a regular basis and you think like, okay, I cannot live without this, then you need to, and that person is not okay with it, she or he is not okay with it, then you've definitely got to talk that through. And if you lay everything out on the table and you guys can't come to a sensible middle ground, then something needs to change, because you guys you have to cooperate. You have to figure out that you want to do this. There's no harm in you I don't know what these activities are, but it's like if you're just trying to go, let's say golf, for example, and you love golfing. It's a fun time for you to get away with your friends or something like that. And then this other person, they don't like that. And again, this could be a guy or a girl. They don't like that. They think that you're just trying to get away. Well, then there's something that needs to be unpacked there, because you're just going to hang out with friends. You're not trying to get away from them. You're not trying to hurt them in any facet, but they still feel hurt. There's definitely needs to be some type of sensible middle ground, and just a really hard conversation needs to be had, or else you wouldn't be asking me this question, right? So something needs to happen. I think lay it out on the table and see what happens, because that's going to be the best way to make both of you happy. Because if there's stuff that you want to do and you're not able to do it, like if it's something you can live without, then and not feel resentful towards that person, because that's the other thing. If you decide that you want to give this thing up, but you're only doing it because they want you to do it, and you really enjoy doing that thing, you're gonna have a lot of resentment towards them. And you may not in the beginning. You may be like, okay, I can push this down, but later on, whenever that can build up, and that resentment can come out, and it can cause issues later on. So yeah, again, all you can do, lay the entire truth out on the table, have that hard conversation, and see if you can find a middle ground. And if you can't, that's okay. At least you figured it out, and know that whatever the next steps that need to be taken are taken, and then you'll both be happier in the long run, right? All right. Onward and upward. The next one is by Josh. He's Mr. Hicksta on Instagram. Shout out to Josh. He's DM'd me quite a few times. He's been a follower of mine for a while. He seems like a super cool guy. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for all your support. I really, really appreciate it. And he asks, how long does it take for an individual's body fat set point to change? And once it does, is eating maintenance calories enough to maintain it? Ooh, body fat set point. We're getting nitty gritty here. Let's see. So body fat set point for those of you who don't know, is basically our body's mechanism. It's a feedback mechanism that keeps us, at least this is the here's the thing that I'm gonna preface this first. I think that there's not tons of research out on this. I don't think that not too many people have a very sound answer to this. I was trying to read up on this a little bit more. There was actually somebody that a scientist that I really respect that just came out with an article on this, but getting into the weeds of everything, our bodies are just so adaptive and things that I was going to get into this and talk about it some, but it's just, I know you guys don't give a fuck. So yeah, I can, if you have more questions, if you want to get into the nitty gritty science of this stuff, I'm happy to send that over to you. But for just to keep it simple, so your body fat set point, if you guys think about, you guys have probably been a similar weight your entire life, or not your entire life, but your entire adult life or something. You guys probably hover around a certain weight. Mine is going to be around like 185 to 190-ish pounds on a regular basis. Like I have no problem maintaining that with my current diet and exercise regimen. Most of you, if you just don't track anything or like don't stress about changing anything or anything like that, your body is going to probably fall around a natural set point whenever it comes to your body weight, your body fat. And so your body just has adaptive mechanisms in the sense that if you diet, for example, one of your body's adaptations to dieting is to make you hungrier. Like there's a reason for that. Whenever you start dieting a lot and your body fat starts to get really low, your body naturally adapts and makes you hungrier so that you'll fucking eat more food, right? It needs more energy. It's just your body's way of saying, hey, like dumb shit, we need more food. So I'm going to make you hungrier. And that's one of the things it does. It also, whenever you're dieting, it'll make you move less. So you're neat, you're non-exercise, hard to say whenever you're drinking some bourbon. You're neat, you're non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So these are all the things like whenever you're fidgeting, whenever you're standing, whenever you're walking around, pacing, even just keeping your neck up. If you're not resting your head against something, keeping your neck up, that's gonna be a form of calorie expenditure that your body does. But like, so if you normally tap your foot at your desk like all day, if you're dieting and you're losing body fat like crazy, your body might down regulate that. So you might tap your foot less and you might burn less calories that way. And the same thing happens vice versa. So if you start to eat a lot more calories than you normally do, your hunger is going to go down. You're going to get fuller more quickly. You're going to increase your NEAT. You're going to tap your foot more. You're going to walk around more. You're going to feel more energized. You're going to move around more, right? You're going to feel more energetic. You're going to perform better in the gym. These are just all the ways that your body just tries to maintain homeostasis, right? It just tries to stay in equilibrium and stays where it's at. It's just a survival mechanism that we've evolved to develop over time, right? And it's great. However, I don't know how long it takes for your body fat set point to change, meaning whenever you're younger, you may be a certain weight, but then whenever you get older, that weight starts to creep up. And that could be due to a variety of different things. Maybe your testosterone's going down. Maybe you're not walking or exercising as much as you used to. Maybe you played high school football or something. Then you go into college and you're not moving around as much. Whatever. The point is, I wouldn't worry about it because you can't control it anyway necessarily. Like it's not something that you can pinpoint. So all I would do, and everyone's going to vary due to genetic variations, right? I wouldn't worry about it. I would say if you are actually eating at your maintenance calories, then by definition, if you're eating maintenance calories, you're going to maintain your weight. You're not going to be putting on body fat or anything like that. So what I would do instead is just monitor your measurements of your progress, basically. Meaning, if you weigh yourself regularly, so you watch your body weight, you take measurements around your waist, around your arms, around your legs, around your other body parts. So you take measurements regularly. And then also you take pictures. If you're monitoring these things, like who gives a fuck what your natural set point is? Like those are going to give you the data that you need. If your body fat or if your body fat and your body weight is going up and you're trying to diet, that means you're eating too many calories and you're not moving enough, right? So you need to adjust that down. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about your body fat set point. What I would do is just take the feedback that your body's giving you based off of your weight, your measurements, your pictures, and your progress in the gym, and then just adjust accordingly, because that's all you can really do anyway. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. Okay, next question. Where are we at in time? Gosh damn, we're already at 35 minutes. These are fun. I really enjoy these DrunkCasts. I hope you guys enjoy them as well. This one is also from Josh. He asked me 2 questions. You greedy bastard. He also asked, what is the most effective supplement for sleep? It's a good question. So that's why I definitely had to answer it. But first, bourbon. Okay, the most effective supplement for sleep is going to be the one that probably all of you think, and it's going to be melatonin. But the thing with melatonin is it is not, I think this is correct. I think it's not, I know that it's correct in the sense that it's dose dependent, right? And more does not mean better. In fact, I think there's actually been some studies that show that lower doses of melatonin actually perform better than higher doses. And as I've also seen that whenever you take higher doses of melatonin, there's a higher likelihood of you waking up the next morning feeling really groggy. Because I'm pretty sure even if you take like 1 milligram of melatonin, it's way above the natural. So melatonin is a hormone in your body that your body naturally secretes whenever the sun starts to go down, right? The sun starts to go down, so your body naturally starts to produce this hormone melatonin, and then you start to get sleepy. But if you take it artificially through a supplement, you just help aid that process. But if you're taking these fucking 5 to 10 milligrams of melatonins, it's just like, it's way above the average amount that your body naturally secretes. So yeah, for melatonin, less is typically better. So what this means is literally 300 micrograms. So not milligrams, micrograms. And you can find this. So that's 0.3 milligrams. So 0.300 or not 0.300, 300 micrograms up to, I usually take 1 milligram. So you can find 1 milligram tablets online. They're super fucking cheap. And yeah, so I would not go higher than about 3 milligrams. And the other thing with melatonin is that I would use it sparingly, right? Use it only on the nights whenever you have trouble falling asleep. Don't just use it like a sleep aid, like every single night, because then again, 1, it's going to become a crutch, and 2, it's not going to be as effective as it normally is. So I would only use it one time. The scenario that I often use it is whenever I'm traveling and my sleep schedule is a little bit weirder than usual. I'm just in a different environment. The light may be different. The bed, the pillows, everything. I'm not as comfortable. Somebody else might be in the same room. Whatever. I think that's whenever melatonin has a very practical use, and that's definitely when I would use it. So yeah, 1 milligram is typically what I use. Other sleep supplements via examine.com. So this is straight from my client handbook that I send all of my clients. So little subtle plug there. Because I talk about sleep and stress and a bunch of other things that might come up while working with them. But via examine.com, they say for people with anxiety or intrusive thoughts before bed, they say 200 milligrams of magnesium, 600 milligrams of lemon balm, and 80 milligrams of lavender oil or aromatherapy 30 minutes pre-bed can help with that anxiety and intrusive thoughts. For people who take a while to fall asleep, 200 milligrams of magnesium with 300 micrograms of melatonin 30 minutes before bed. For people who don't feel rested in the morning, 200 milligrams of magnesium and 3 grams of glycine 30 minutes before bed. Glycine is an amino acid. So yeah, go back, rewind those, write that shit down. But yeah, those are all helpful supplements to help you sleep better. Another great question. Okay, let's move on to the next one. First, sippy sip. This one is from Sarah. I'm going to go ahead and got a little bit of ice here. Just a little blanket there. Let me, one sec. Sarah, she says, "Hi, Matt. I've heard over and over that weight loss comes down to simple math. Burn more calories than you take in and you'll lose weight. But does that apply to fat loss as well? I have no weight to lose at 5'2" and 104 pounds, but I do have fat to lose, and it seems to be taking forever. I work out 5 times a week and eat well, approximately 1,500 calories a day, and according to my Fitbit, I burn lots of calories, blah, blah, blah. I know there are 3,550 calories in a pound of fat. It's actually 3,500, roughly. There can be questionable variables to that. And I do the math, and I should be further ahead than I am. I've lost some fat, 2.5 pounds over 7 months, according to the body scan at my gym, but the math doesn't add up. I should have lost more. What gives? A trainer at my gym said hormones play a role. Is that accurate? Thank you. Okay. So this is a good question. Basically, it's about math. She's wondering, she's done the math and she's thinking that she should be losing more than what she has based off of her calories burned, the calories that she's taking in. And here's the thing, Sarah, thank you for your question, by the way. It's a great name. My sister's name is Sarah. Here's the thing. It is math, right? It is physics, it's thermodynamics, everything, right? But the thing is, we have no way of measuring this math 100% accurately. So you have your Fitbit, you have your Apple Watch, you have your phone, you have whatever. These are all just estimates of estimates, right? Even with body fat, even the body scan at your gym, and you get your body fat measured or analyzed. It's just, these are all guesses. So it's very, very difficult to rely on the accuracy of these. So if you're just going to be disappointed, if you simply look at the math and think, oh, okay, I did X and now Y should happen, right? That's just not the case. The body is way more complex than that, and it is very dynamic. It is very complex, and it adapts on a daily basis. You have different things going on every single day. So what I would instead recommend is to control what you can control and forget the rest. So even whenever you track your calories on like MyFitnessPal or nutrition labels on foods, those aren't 100% accurate, but it's the best we got, right? So what I would say instead is, as long as you measure the same things over time, the exact accuracy and precision of those numbers don't necessarily matter. What matters is you staying consistent with the measurements over time, right? And so what I would do is, what you can control is your body weight. So stepping on the scale every single morning, after you use the restroom, before you've eaten anything, and typically around the same time, right? Keeping all the variables the same as possible, that's going to give you the most reliable data over time. So weighing yourself every single day, tracking your food on a weight scale or on a food scale, that's going to be another way to ensure that you are being 100% accurate with your calories and your macros, because you said approximately 1,500 calories a day. I don't know if you are 100% tracking every single one of those calories, weighing it out on a food scale. And real quick, just as a side note, a lot of people are going to hear me say this, like, oh, I don't want to track all that shit. It's like, well, whenever you've had a plateau, the best thing that you can do is to track everything, because then whenever you track everything, you know where shit is going haywire, right? You know where something is going wrong. So yeah, track your food the most accurately that you can. If you're constantly eating out, that's not going to be the most accurately that you can, because they use oils, they use certain sauces, they use whatever. They use tons of different things that you can't control. And the serving sizes, sure, it may say that on the website, but the serving sizes that they give you are going to vary. So that's another thing to be mindful of. If you can make all your food, you can weigh it yourself, weigh every single thing that you put in your mouth, so you know exactly how many calories and macronutrients you are consuming each day. That is going to be super, super helpful. So yeah, your weight, your food intake each day, your step count is another thing that you can take into consideration. Your measurements, that's going to be your body measurements. Buying a body measure on Amazon is super cheap and very much worth it. Taking pictures, that's going to be another way to measure your progress. These are all things that you can actually keep consistent over time to get a good view of if what you're doing is working or not. And here's the thing, if you're not losing weight if you've been doing that, let's say for 2 weeks, you've been tracking everything, right? And you're not losing weight on these certain amount of calories that you're consuming, well, you're not in a calorie deficit. That's just plain and simple how it is. So you need to either reduce calories and or add in some cardio. So you need to either eat less or move more. That's just as simple as it is. And again, this is why I say to track everything, because if you're tracking your food intake, you're tracking how many steps you take. And I say steps because this is going back to the NEAT idea, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. If your steps vary a lot day to day, well, for some people, that can actually be a decent amount of calories that you're either burning or not burning. So measuring your step count can be important. Or if you're doing cardio, make sure you measure your cardio, because if you do let's say you do 30 minutes of cardio every single day for 1 week, and then you only do 30 minutes of cardio one day the next week, right? But that's you're doing way more cardio 1 week than the other week. So you're burning way more calories 1 week compared to the other week. And if you're not tracking all of these different things and all these different variables, you don't know what you need to change in order to keep progressing, right? So yes, it is math, but don't worry about the math. Don't try and worry about that too much. Instead, track everything that you can as accurately and as consistently as you can, and then figure out which thing needs to be adjusted in order to get the results you're looking for. Your trainer said hormones play a role. Yes, sometimes if you've been diagnosed with, PCOS or something like that from your doctor. But until you have been diagnosed by a doctor, if you like I said, all the things that that I just told you, if you're like, oh yeah, I've been doing that, well, then maybe it might be a good idea to go get checked out by your doctor. See how your thyroid's doing. See if I don't know, like if you have PCOS, you're probably going to know. But it's like, go and get things checked out. But for the most part, hormones, they do play a role. Of course, I would be ignorant to say that they don't. However, for most people, there's other variables that they need to take care of first. So worry about those first, then go see if there's some type of outlier with your hormones being the issue. But Sarah, that's a great question. It's a really great question. I know we DM back and forth, so that was fun. I hope that helped you out. Let's see real quick. Where are we at? We're 49 minutes out. Good. We're good. Let me take a little sippy sip here. This is fun. I really enjoy doing these. And again, I don't even know how many people are listening to this, but these are fun. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Because I sure as shit do. Okay. Hold on. Let me see how many we got left here. All right. I'm going to skip this one for now. It was asked by my girlfriend. I love you, babe, but I need to make sure that I get to other people's first. You can ask me this question another time. All right. This one's from Sophia. Hey, Matt, thanks for the awesome content. My question is, how do you determine the amount of weight you should be lifting when you aim at maintaining muscle during a calorie deficit? I'm guessing it shouldn't, wait. I'm guessing it doesn't have to be the same as when you lift to gain, but I have no clue what one should go for. Okay, so how do you determine the amount of weight you should be lifting when you aim at maintaining muscle during a calorie deficit? So whenever you're in a calorie deficit, you're already at a risk to lose muscle mass by default because you're in a calorie deficit. So that means that you're burning more calories than you're consuming. And that already puts you at a risk of your body using up tissue in the body for energy. And it doesn't just be like, oh, you're in a calorie deficit, so that means I'm just going to 100% take away that energy from fat, right? This is why we eat a decent amount of protein to counteract that deficit from taking away from your muscle stores as opposed to your fat stores. But just because you have a high protein amount or just because you're consuming a high amount of protein each day doesn't mean that your body's not going to eat away at some of your muscle as well. So that's something to consider, that you probably, like you say, you think that it doesn't have to be as much as whenever you're gaining, but whenever you're in a calorie deficit, you're already, again, in a deficit. So you need to fight just as hard to maintain the muscle that you have whenever you're in a deficit, because you don't have as many nutrients that are available to put forth muscle building. And so yeah, I think for you, as long as you don't get weaker, I think you'll be good to go. You can really determine this if you make sure you monitor your weight and also your measurements, making sure, like if you said maintaining muscle during a calorie deficit. I don't know if you're worried about getting bigger necessarily, or if you're literally just trying to make sure that you don't lose muscle mass. If you're not trying to lose muscle mass, keep your protein high. Don't reduce calories much more than they need to. So losing about 1 pound a week is going to be a good point for most, or it's going to be a good starting point for a lot of people as far as a rate of weight loss goes, to ensure that you're not losing a bunch of muscle along the way. But as long as you make sure that you aren't getting weaker in the gym on your main lifts, so like bench, squat, deadlift, pull up, shoulder press, barbell row, dumbbell row, whatever, you'll be all right. So I wouldn't overthink it too much. I would continue to keep trying hard, because again, if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to hold on to as much money as possible, or money. You want to hold on to as much, you want to hold on to as much muscle and money as possible during this process, so that you don't look skinny fat on the other end, right? You want to hold on to that muscle, so that when you lose fat, you look lean and mean, right? Okay. Next question is from Matthew. God, what a fucking great name. Thanks, Matthew, for this question. One sec. I'm getting for the audio listeners. The YouTube people can see me. A little sippy sip. Ooh. Okay. Matthew asks, we have all seen discussions regarding fasted cardio, but what about fasted weight training? Or better, what is the optimal way to lift weights in the morning? My timetable at the moment doesn't allow me to work out in the afternoon, so I go to the gym in the morning before work. I wake up, get ready, eat a spoon of honey, and hit the gym. Apart from slower, muscle growth and lower volume, I tend to lift less in the mornings. Are there any drawbacks of doing things this way? Okay, with fasted weight training, I wouldn't overthink it too much, to be honest, especially if that's what's keeping you at the gym. Like if you can only go in the mornings and you don't feel like eating a lot before the gym, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because the overall difference is going to be fairly small. If you feel good not eating anything before you go and you just eat the honey, I think you said you eat a spoon of honey and then hit the gym. So honey is going to be all carbohydrates. There's no fat or no protein in that. It's just, a lot of fructose, sugar, and that's all it is. But here's the thing with that is, so you don't have anything on your stomach. You fasted the entire night, and then the morning comes, and then you have I know honey is actually a lower glycemic carb due to the amount of fructose in it. However, that doesn't mean that your blood sugar, your blood glucose couldn't spike, and then you could become hypoglycemic during your workouts. If you've been doing this for a while and you haven't had any issues, then I think it'll be fine. However, I would recommend to maybe have a spoonful of honey and maybe a little bit of peanut butter or something, maybe a couple almonds to break that up. So you add in a little bit of fat in there, and you're going to reduce your risk of becoming hypoglycemic, of getting lower blood sugar while you're in the gym, getting really, get the cold sweats, you feel shaky, etc. Adding a little bit of fat in there, and or if you have a protein shake or something like that, I would probably recommend the protein shake actually a little bit more, just because you've gone 6 to 8 hours the entire night without eating anything, not having any protein at all, and then you're going to the gym, which is a catabolic process by nature. I think having a protein shake and some honey beforehand would be a good idea. However, if you don't want to eat a whole lot and the protein shake would maybe upset your stomach or something like that, I would have the spoonful of honey. Have the spoonful of honey, maybe a little bit of nuts, and then right after the gym, make sure that you get in some food, have a shake or a meal, whatever, with a decent amount of protein within about an hour from the gym. Normally, nutrient timing and meal timing doesn't matter as much for most people, but one case where it does matter a lot more is whenever you're doing fasted workouts in the morning. You don't want to work out on an empty stomach and then not eat for another 2-3 hours after you work out as well. You're just, you're missing out definitely on some gains there. So I would make sure that as soon as the workout's over, try to get in a meal or a shake as quickly as possible, and you'll be good to go. I think don't worry about it too much. Again, don't overthink it. I think a lot of people lift fasted in the mornings and they feel good about it. And I wouldn't worry. I actually have another question on here that was related to that from Raul. Raul? I think that's how you say it. And I want to go ahead and answer that real quick. He said, should you weightlift fasted if you feel full from the night before? This is the same premise. Again, however you feel isn't necessarily, it doesn't matter that much. Your body, regardless, hasn't had food for about 8 hours, or 6 hours, 7 hours, however long you've slept. And it's running mostly on empty. So again, if you feel full, again, don't worry about it. But after the workout, get in a shake, or even during your workout, have some Gatorade or something like that to maybe help fuel you a little bit. But then afterwards, get in the shake, get in the meal, and I think you'll be good to go. So you could, but it also wouldn't help, or it wouldn't hurt if you ate a little bit something before as well. Good questions. Let's see. Next one is from Nero. What a cool name. Hold on real quick. What time are we at? 58. All right. We are closing in on an hour. We have... All right. We don't have too many more. We're good to go. Hope you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling good. What is it? Holy fuck. It's 12:06 a.m. right now. Jesus. Okay. It's all good though. It's all good. We're still going strong on a Thursday. Okay. Nero asks, what is the best way to staying lean all year round? This is a great question. And the answer is simple, but not easy. You're going to diet down to your preferred body fat. And that's going to, take a calorie deficit. I don't know. It depends on what body fat you're at right now. If you're where you want to be right now in regards of your leanness, and you're not eating like 1,300 or 1,500 calories a day, and that's something that you could see being very, very difficult to keep up for the next 2, 3, 6 months, then you may want to reconsider this. But yeah, so diet down to your preferred body fat and then focus on eating maintenance calories that entire year, right? That's all you do. You're maintaining your body fat by eating maintenance calories. So you're not gaining weight, you're not losing weight, you're staying at the exact same. However, if you do this, sure, you're going to stay lean all year round, but you have to accept the trade-off of not being able to gain that much muscle either. This of course depends if you're a beginner or if you're an intermediate or an advanced lifter. But as you gain more experience in the gym, the harder it's going to be to gain muscle mass. So if you're an intermediate or advanced lifter and you're trying to stay lean all year round, you can basically say goodbye to making any muscle gains whatsoever. Unless you're just really, really on point with tracking your macros and tracking your calories and monitoring your body weight and your measurements and all that stuff, and you're paying really, really close attention to it, that's how you can stay lean all year round. But you're just going to have to be willing, again, to accept the trade-offs and the sacrifices that come with this. So if you do want to stay lean year round, you totally can. Just be mindful of the potential muscle gain that you could be missing out on. That's basically how you do it. All right. Let's see. Laurie, I think is how you say his name, asked me on Instagram. He said, on a full body day, let's say you have chest, back, legs. So you have a full body lifting day, and you have chest, back, legs on the same day, and you want to add some tries and buys too for more volume. What is the more correct sequence? Chest, try, back, by, rest, or chest, back, try, by? Much appreciated. He said, or if you have 2 chest exercises and 2 back exercises, should you do them back to back? So like chest exercise 1, chest exercise 2, back exercise 1, back exercise 2, or alternate. Cheers. Laurie, thank you. I know you've sent me quite a few DMs and questions before. Thank you for your support. However, I think you're way overthinking things. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would do whatever feels right. However, I think if you do want to maximize or optimize this sequence that you're talking about, it just depends on what you want to prioritize most. If it's more of a priority, if a certain body part is more of a priority than another, I would make sure that you put it in the beginning whenever you're fresh. You have more energy. You're able to put more focus into the mind to muscle connection. You can feel the muscle a little bit better. I would, if you're trying to prioritize a muscle, put it in the beginning. It's been the same for a long time. If you want to prioritize it, put it in the beginning whenever you are the freshest. So I would prioritize which body part you want to emphasize the most and start there. He also says, does machine rowing build muscle for early intermediates? And machine rowing build muscle for early I don't know if he's talking about cardio rowing, like on the rowing machine, or if he's talking about like a hammer strength, like a plate loaded machine to build muscle. For cardio rowing, no, that's definitely not going to build muscle. It's just not enough stimulus. So like the girls that you see on the stair steppers who are doing the glute kickbacks and whatever, or they're just on the stair stepper because they think it's going to build their leg muscle, they are completely wrong because there's not enough stimulus. There's not enough tension there's not enough overload on the target muscle groups in order to force the muscle to grow. There is no hypertrophy because there's not enough stimulus. So it's ridiculous that you see these girls doing this. They're only increasing their fatigue and tiring themselves out. So if you are trying to row on the cardio machine and build your back muscle, it's not going to happen. There's going to be a threshold. If you're a beginner and then if you row for cardio, sure, you're going to build up some of the muscles in your back because you don't have any back muscles to begin with. But if you're an intermediate 2 to 3 years of lifting, doing some machine rowing isn't going to do shit. However, if you're talking about like a plate loaded machine, like hammer strength or something like that, of course, it doesn't. Your body isn't that smart. As long as you're placing tension and overload on the specific muscles that you're trying to target, of course they can grow. Given that you're eating enough, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? 104. We're good. We're gonna go for about 10 or 15 more minutes, I think. We'll see. A little sippy sip. Let's see. Anne asks, Annie? Yeah. If you aren't hungry after the gym, but it's dinner time, should you eat or wait? All right. If you aren't hungry after the gym, but it's dinner time, should you eat or wait? Okay, this is a good question because I understand whenever people go by their feelings a lot, by how their hunger, like in the fasted weight training example, they're like, oh, I'm not hungry, so I probably shouldn't eat, right? I think for this question, so you get done with if you get done with the gym and then it's dinner time and you aren't hungry, it's like for most people actually right after the gym, they're not necessarily going to be hungry. If you just had a hard workout, you guys probably know that you're not super hungry. But if you wait 30 minutes to an hour, you're probably pretty damn hungry. So what I would do is typically I have a shake right after I get done because I can down a shake fairly easily, no matter if I'm super hungry or not. It's no problem to take down a shake. I know it's going to help me out in the long run. But it mostly depends on what you ate, or it depends on when you ate, I guess, and also what you ate before the gym session. So let's say you have your gym session at 6 p.m., right? And you ate at 5 p.m. Okay. Let's say you had sufficient protein, you had carbs, etc. So the response that you get from that meal is going to carry over for several hours. So let's say you have a shake at 5 and then you have the gym session at 6. Based off the research, that muscle protein synthesis response that you got at 5 o'clock is still going to be, to keep it simple, it's still going to be going on for about 3 to 5 hours after you've had that meal. So you're in good shape, right? If you eat the meal at 5, you work out at 6, let's say you get done at 7, I don't think you need to worry about really getting a meal in until probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. I've gone after workouts, I've gone like 2 to 3 hours without having any meal. I wouldn't go probably much longer than 2 hours. But like, yeah, it matters much more what you eat throughout the entire day, because that's going to be what's available to your body. But yes, post-workout nutrition is important, but if you ate right before the gym, it's not like you eat a meal and then you go to the gym and then all of a sudden that meal just completely cancels out because you've gone to the gym, and then it's not like helping you recover or aiding muscle growth or anything like that. That meal is still, the effect that from that meal, the response from that meal is still going on for several hours after you eat it. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. However, sandwiching your workouts with some protein is definitely never going to be a bad idea. So I wouldn't purposefully wait longer, but I would wait, as long as you need to. And again, you say it's dinner time, like fucking, I've had dinner at 4 p.m. I've had dinner at 6 p.m. I've had dinner at 9 p.m. I've had dinner at 12 a.m. What the fuck is dinner time? Like, you can eat whenever you want. I think that's another thing people have to realize is that, yeah, there's not even like, there is like breakfast foods, I guess, but you can technically eat chicken and rice and broccoli for breakfast if you want to. I know a lot of people that are like, that sounds terrible. And to me, that sounds terrible as well. However, your body doesn't know that. So yeah, you can eat whenever you want. And, but yeah, I would, if you aren't hungry after the gym, give it 30 minutes, give it an hour or so. You'll be totally fine. Just make sure that you you've had a meal, within like 2 to 2.5 hours within your workout, and you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. Oh, see, there it is. Voice getting a little bit scratchy. All right, we just got a couple more here. This is another one from Raul. He said, how do you schedule weightlifting 5 times per week and Muay Thai 2 to 3 times per week? This is a good question. And I would recommend you to look up Mike Israel's, Dr. Mike Israel from Renaissance Periodization. Look up his YouTube channel and look up his video on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So just type in Mike Israel and BJJ, and it'll pop up. He gives really, it's like a 45-minute long, in-depth video on incorporating both lifting and martial arts together. But the biggest takeaway I can give you on this one is you can't just add stuff on top of each other and expect your body to keep up with it, especially where you said 5 times a week, weightlifting, and then Muay Thai 2 to 3 times per week. That's going to be a lot, right? So if you're normally lifting 5 times per week and you're like, oh, I want to start doing Muay Thai 2 to 3 times a week. It's like you can't necessarily just keep everything the same and then add the Muay Thai on top of that, because you have to remember that your body has to recover from the fatigue that you're presenting to it. So instead, what I would say is, if you're going to continue to lift 5 times per week, if you just like doing that, I would take off either an entire exercise or 2 from each day, or maybe take away a set from every single exercise each day to just reduce that volume to make sure that you can handle the volume from the Muay Thai. Of course, this is going to be very dependent on how hard your intensity during the Muay Thai, how long these Muay Thai sessions are, etc. But yeah, you can't just add stuff on top of each other, because fatigue on your body is going to be a big variable that comes into play. Okay. Let's see. Sean asks, you have to give up one for the rest of your life, wine or dessert. Good luck. Good question, Sean. Sean is also a client of mine. Shout out to you, bro, my Canadian fella. Let's see. It would definitely be wine. And this may be a surprise to some of you. A better question would have been alcohol or dessert. That would have been a very tough one, because I do enjoy alcohol and just the way I feel after a nice little buzz. I'm not trying to get drunk or anything like that. And I know I post lots of alcohol stuff on my Instagram or on this podcast. I'm fucking doing a DrunkCast right now, but like, I'm fine. I'm a little bit tipsy. I've had a little bit of bourbon. I never get drunk. I hardly ever get very drunk, but I drink occasionally, just either a glass of bourbon or a glass of wine here or there. But I'm not, even if, as I joke about being an alcoholic, I'm not anywhere close to being an alcoholic. And I make sure that I keep myself in check with alcohol and substances that I know can be abused if not taken care of. So I'm very much on top of things with the alcohol situation. However, yeah, dessert, it just, dude, I mean, come on now. Never having another dessert again or alcohol. No, it's good. I'm fine with skipping out. I'm skipping out on the wine, and I'll take the dessert all day long, my man. Okay, let's see. I'm about to end this bitch real quick. Let's see. We're at a minute. Yeah, we're at a minute 13. We're at an hour 13. Let's see. I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer, I think, 2 more real quick. Next one is, do you or did you struggle with imposter syndrome, and how did you overcome it? This is a great question. I definitely do still struggle with imposter syndrome because I'm 26, I'm young, I don't feel like I don't have the experience to give a lot of life advice or anything like that, even though I am a very avid learner and reader and take a lot of advice from people who are older and wiser than I am. However, that still doesn't mean that I'm qualified to give advice on certain things, yet I still do, because I think I'm not doing anybody any harm, and it could potentially be helpful for those people. But yeah, I think if you're somebody who's ambitious and you're trying to achieve things outside your comfort zone and things that are very ambitious. I think imposter syndrome is a very natural thing. And if you don't have it, you might be a narcissistic asshole. Yeah. And I think that's honestly true. But for the most part, how I overcame, I still, it's not necessarily overcoming it. It's more so managing it. I managed it in the sense of with fitness, I competed in bodybuilding. So the extreme of the extreme. I ended up earning my natural pro card. So I'm a professional natural bodybuilder. So I walked the walk. Basically, I got super shredded and stepped on stage in a mankini and oiled up and everything. So I walked the walk in that sense. I also got my RD credentials. So I went to school for 4 years. I got a 1,400 hour dietetic internship that I had to get accepted into and then go through for about 8 months or so. Then I had to take my national board exam to become a registered dietitian. And that is not, easy. I had to do that from a academic sense and from a knowledge standpoint. That kind of cleared me on that path. And now after working with hundreds of people online, I've kind of gained that experience route. So I've got the anecdotal evidence, the experience working with hundreds of people. I earned my registered dietitian credential. I went through the schooling aspect of things. So the actual, scientific research and literature there. And then I also walked the walk as a natural bodybuilder, drug tested bodybuilder, and won my pro card there. So I did all of these things to kind of overcome my imposter syndrome through action. And I think that is the best way to overcome imposter syndrome, is to repeatedly do what you thought you once couldn't do. Right? I think that's exactly, it's not necessarily fake it till you make it, but it is, right? You have to consistently push outside your boundaries of what you think is possible for yourself, and keep going further. And that's how you build confidence. You build confidence through that progression and doing things that you thought you never could do, right? So that's how I continue to manage my imposter syndrome. But I still know that saying that the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, is very, very true. And I understand that there's so many people that have done more than me in the same amount of time. They're smarter than me. They're, better looking than me, whatever. They make more money, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't let that beat me up too much, because I know that they're thinking the exact same thing about somebody else as well. And it's just, it's nonsense to get caught up in the rat race of all of that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I would not worry about that. All right. And lastly, biggest mistake new lifters make, and also intermediates and veterans. So biggest mistakes that all lifters make. I think, I'm going to wrap this all kind of up into one. Some of the biggest mistakes that people make is I think not learning proper technique from the beginning on the main lifts is going to be one of the biggest things. So this is new lifters, this is intermediates and veterans. And so people that have been lifting in the gym for years, that's like, I don't give a shit if you've been lifting for 10 years. That doesn't mean that your form is good. That doesn't mean that you're lifting properly, right? That just means you've gone to the gym for a long time and done shitty workouts for a very long time. That means nothing, honestly. So people who think that they are intermediates and veterans, just because you've gone to the gym for a very long time, does not necessarily mean that you're an intermediate or a veteran. Because I've seen people who tell me they're intermediates or veterans, and their workouts are just terrible. There's just no rhyme or reason for anything they're doing, and they're just kind of throwing darts blindfolded at a dartboard and hoping that something sticks. So yeah, whenever quote unquote intermediates or veterans get onto a strategic and individualized and periodized plan, and their results are crazy, they're surprised because they thought that they could never do that. However, their training and nutrition has been dog shit for the last X amount of years, right? So yeah, focusing on their technique and I think focusing on technique and form, that's number one, the biggest thing, mostly because one, it's going to be best for muscle building, but two, it's also going to be best for injury prevention. And if you're hurt, you cannot lift and you cannot get bigger. So therefore, injury prevention, especially as a coach for me, is rule number one, because if my clients are hurt, they can't lift. And so, yeah, I would make sure that you're performing the lift properly first. And that would be the biggest mistake. And then I think the second mistake, and I think I'm going to call it here, would be constantly just doing more and more and more and going to failure often. That's going to be the biggest thing. People think that they need to constantly go failure. They constantly need to go harder. You have, CT Fletcher out there fucking telling people it's still their motherfucking set, and they keep pushing it harder and harder. And eventually their body is like, fuck you. And they get injured and they wonder how it happened. And it's because their fatigue has built up. They don't take rest. They don't take deloads. They don't train smart. And, their body adapts by injuring themselves. So they force you to take a break. So yeah, I think going to failure constantly is a huge mistake that people make. I think it definitely has its place. However, for people with muscle growth in mind, going to failure constantly is not necessarily a great idea. So yeah, those two things are it. All right. And I think that's about a wrap on this DrunkCast. This was a good one. This was a fun one. You guys asked some really great questions. I really appreciate those of you who asked questions. I hope I got to the majority of them on here. And I look forward to definitely doing this again. I'm going to take a last little sippy sip here. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, if you made it this far, I would really, really, really appreciate if you send me a DM. Just let me know what you thought about these. I love hearing feedback from my listeners, from you 3 people out there that are still listening to this. I really genuinely appreciate you guys. Send me a DM, put it up on your story and tag me. Do whatever you need to do to get the word out there, because I'm excited to share this with other people and to get more people into our little tribe and movement that we've got going on here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will catch you next time on the More Than Fitness podcast. I'm out.